So real fast, I want to show you the adjustment for the Juki LK1910 on how to put it in timing. For the first part, we'll be using these needles, which are a longer needle. So I'll show you how to do the timing and needle adjustment for those. First, make sure your string, everything is incorrect. Make sure it's ran the right way. Make sure your needle's not bent. So for the first part, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the knob here, turn it clockwise until the needle's all the way up, and check it. Check your shuttle, make sure everything looks good. So first thing we wanna do, check the timing, and then make sure we have the adjustment for the right needle, is we wanna pull out the bobbin, which we have here. Bobbin. Make sure it's inserted right. It should be inserted to where it unravels counterclockwise, like so. Next thing we want to do is we want to pull off the shuttle and shuttle driver retainer. Be careful not to drop the shuttle, because you can break off the little ear that is on here, that little piece right there. So when we do that, we're going to go back over to this knob here on the side, turn it counterclockwise. Needle's going to go down, down, and we're going to look for BDC, which is right at the bottom before the needle returns to the up position. We want it down right before it returns to the up position. You have a series of marks there. You use the bottom two. The second from the bottom is going to be the distance that you set for which needle you're using. That's where that's going to be right there. That's for the type of needle. That tells you if you're using a long needle or a short needle. Usually when using a long needle, you're going to use the second line from the bottom. Now that we've done that, once you have the long needle in, using the needles that I explained to you, which is these ones, these needles, you'll set it to that mark for BDC when you're creating your loop coming from your bobbin. All right, when your needle's inserted, your needle's in like that, your needle eye should be facing you, and there's a flat spot on the needle. I don't think I have another one around here, but there's a flat spot on the needle that needs to face to the rear of the machine. So if I lift this up, the needle has a flat spot on the back that needs to face towards the rear machine. So turning it counterclockwise back down to bottom dead center right there. That's for the type of needle that you're using. That's where that should be set for that type of needle. Secondly, we're going to turn that knob again over here counterclockwise until we take that line here. So the first one just below the bushing there, that's how you can see it. So that line should be just below the bushing, the very first line, and that's going to be your timing for your shuttle. You're going to use that there to put in back in the hole. In the home you go. And if you can see, that sharp part on that shuttle should be behind the needle, but centered in the center of the needle, and that would be your timing. So that would allow, when your loop is made, to grab from the needle. That's how that has to be, and that's how you do the timing on that. Secondly, on your shuttle itself, your shuttle here, and right there in the center, that shaft should be about flush when doing your adjustment. That's how you do the adjustment to adjust the shuttle and the driver, which is that right there. That'll allow you to move the shuttle back and forth, or counterclockwise or clockwise to do your timing. Then you will rotate your needle one full turn, and then back down to BDC using those lines. Make sure it ends back up in the same place, and then counterclockwise again to that first one. Try your shuttle one more time, put it in there, and make sure that it's correct timing, and that looks good. Go ahead and put everything back together. Put this back in, Close it up. Sorry about that. Put your bobbin back in. One thing I want to show you too with the bobbin, it's kind of hard for me to hold the camera and show you, is that your bobbin, when you pick it up, it should be like a yo-yo. You should be able to not pick it up without it coming unraveled. It should be just enough when you pick it up, it will start to unravel. A little bit of tension, not much, and there's the adjustment for that right on the back of that. So if you can lift it off your leg or your hand and it does not come unraveled, that means it's too tight. You should be able to just barely start to lift it and it comes unraveled, and that's like the perfect tension. Go ahead and pop that back inside there like so, and we should be good. You can clip that string off. You should only have it about the length of the tail end of the string. Should only be about 1 inch long, and it should be good. Other than that, that's pretty much it on how to do that. Your tensioner here should be about, this is the chrome barrel, this is the splines, but that smooth area right there should usually be about even, if not a little past that barrel there, and that will give you the perfect tension, and that tension there should be pulled all the way out, and that should be good. And for the most part, that's pretty much the timing. So another thing I like to add about this part of the Juki 1910 is that when you take this apart right here, another thing that can cause you issues with everything working properly the way it should is that on your shuttle here, that's your shuttle driver, and then here on your shuttle, let me grab that off of there. Take your bobbin out of your shuttle here. On your shuttle, when you put this in, let me adjust it here for a second. Counterclockwise there we go. So on your shuttle driver, and when you insert your shuttle, when that's in there, right there, you should have very minimal play. So when you go back and forth like so, you shouldn't have any play. And if you do, if you have play with this thing here, if you twist it back and forth, you should have very minimal, 0.005 or so millimeters between the shuttle driver and the shuttle here. So what I normally do is, if I have too much play, if you don't have another shuttle, one of these to replace right offhand, is I will take this bad boy here and this bad boy here, and what you would do is you would position your shuttle, again, this part, to about you say a position about there, and then what you want to do is you just give it a small tap here, that in that direction, and what that'll do is it'll bring this tab closer to where your shuttle sits, and it will eliminate that play you may have there. And once you do that, you might want to check your timing again, because once you do that, that will get rid of whatever mistiming you may have, which what I showed you earlier, when your needle's down and where your point on your shuttle, this part behind the needle where it should be, it will maybe change either more that direction. More than likely it'll advance the timing, making it grab the loop a little sooner. So you might want to check that after you do that little mod that I told you there. And 9 times out of 10, if it did that, it means it's getting weak and it's going to move again eventually. So just go ahead and replace the shuttle.